that's it, Explora Bookworms. Now, as I promised earlier, we have a very important guest who took her time to just pause and make sure that she joins us in this very important talk here at Explora Talks. And I'm talking about the author of a wonderful, fun, adventurous book. And this is one of the books that I've read actually, that really touched my heart. I am a lover of dogs too, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers right now are lovers of dogs. There are different varieties of dogs, and we're gonna talk about Petey the Pug, who escaped for 24 hours. And we're gonna talk to the author of this book, Renee Servello. Hello, Renee, and welcome to the program.
Hi, Joel. Good to be with you today.
Now, let us know, Renee, where are you at this time? I'm sure you're in your library somewhere or in your house. Please let us
In
know.
my office, in my house, yes,
That's
in
good.
Houston.
Wow. Thank you for that, Renee. Now, Renee, we're very excited to talk to you because I'm a lover of dogs, as I've said earlier. And this is a very cute story of a pug who actually escaped from his home. But before we talk about that, Renee, I'm sure a lot of our viewers are very excited to know what is your background? What have you been doing for the past decades?
Wow. Well, I retired from a 30-year retail career and I was sort of stumped. What next? And due to living overseas in Venezuela in the fourth and fifth and sixth grades, at times there were no friends my own age. So I was very bored until school was Monday through Friday and I could get together with my friends.
Mhm,
So I started looking out the window, watching all
mhm.
the neighbors come and go, and made up stories about them and their animals that lived in their yards. I mean, I had nothing to do. There was no TV, hardly any books. It was
Yeah.
sort of sad, but that's what started me writing. And then when I retired, I'm like, what now? Because I had
Mhm.
always been so active, and I said I
Yeah.
want to start writing. So my first book was a humor book. I have two humor books and three children's books. So the reason I chose the senior book about seniors is because everybody makes the senior years out to be
Mhm.
horrible. And I
Yeah.
had friends and myself and my family that were aging,
Yeah.
and I came up with the humorous parts of what was happening to all of us. I mean, you have to laugh sometimes, or
Yes, that's
sometimes
right.
it's very serious, the situation, and there's no laughter. But anyway, I chose to write about the humorous side of aging, and I just kept going because there was just so much to write about and so many miserable people out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept up. And then I got to Freckles, my first children's book, Freckles
Mhm.
Finds a Forever Home. And that was
Mhm.
our pet rabbit that we adopted. And of course, everybody
Wow.
out there that has pets, you know that they're extra special and
Yeah.
they are super, super important to the family. And she
Yeah.
was also. But the interesting thing about that book is that it resonated with the families that had adopted children. So their adopted
Mm.
children saw in Freckles the same situation that they had been through. They said the
That's right.
Cervellos adopted Freckles, and our mom and dad adopted us. So we're the same as Freckles. Ah,
Wow.
heartwarming. That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And so that was Freckles. And then, oh, our daughter brought us Freckles. She asked me one Mother's Day, what would you like? And I said, a
Mhm.
rabbit. And she says, what color? And I'll get you one at the toy store. And I'm like, toy store? No, real rabbit. So she's the one that produced that little special 4-pound bunny for us, who was adorable. And then
Wow.
later on, our son Ty was a manager in a golfing facility, and he dropped by for dinner one night, and he
Mhm.
told us what had happened that day with Petey the
Mhm.
Pug.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love that dog. He dug and dug and
Yeah.
dug to get out of his yard because he was
Mhm.
hearing and seeing all of these people
Mhm.
day in and
Mhm.
day out go into this golfing facility. And
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
sure he was bored. So he
Mhm.
dug his way out and he went over to the golfing facility
Oh
and
my.
dug into under their huge screening, which goes around the facility. He got
Yeah.
in. And it just sort
What
of
an
froze
amazing story.
everybody that was hitting golf balls because there
Yeah.
was this little pug dog in the middle of the field
Yeah.
trying to jump up and catch golf balls. Thank God he wasn't hit.
Yes.
He could have been
Oh,
killed. So that
that's true.
stopped the golf. That just stopped the golf. And the ball man picked him up in the truck and delivered him to the clubhouse. Well,
Yes.
okay, here's all these people that came to play golf. And this little pug dog is running around with that little smashed in face
Yes,
and
for
jumping
sure.
in everybody's. Well, anyway, he had a fabulous, fabulous day. And at 10 o'clock that night, the employees came to my son and said, "It's 10 o'clock. What are we going to do with this dog?" And he said, "Well, his family hasn't called, so I'll take him home. He can spend the night with me." And they had
Mhm.
a slumber party. He made him a bed on the floor. And
Aw.
it was a great 24 hours for Petey. And the next morning, when my son returned to the clubhouse, his parents were waiting. They had called.
Wow.
And
Mhm.
this little guy, the reason I wanted
That's
to
it.
write about him is because to me it showed he had spunk
Mhm.
and he wants to act on, he follows through with what he's thinking. He wanted to
Mhm.
go see people and he got himself over there. I think the little guy's very exciting and I see, other things for Petey, other adventures,
Mhm.
because he's just that type of dog that a lot of get up and go to him. So it was a pleasure. And then my last book, which will be out in a couple of weeks,
Mhm.
is about, it's my first fiction book. And
Mhm.
it's Baby Barney needs hugs and food.
Okay.
Starts out as a small um, Labradoodle dog, and he's
Mhm.
ginormous by the end of the story. He
Wow.
outgrows his bed. He outgrows the back
Mhm.
seat of his family's car. He
Mhm.
outgrows everything. All that that dog wants to do now is eat. He's
Yes.
constantly starving. So it's a darling book too.
Mhm.
But I think Petey, when you look at
Mhm.
Petey again, it's his face. Everybody falls in love with his face.
Mhm.
They love Petey already.
Wow.
So it was fun to write about Petey's story. Yeah, it was a lot of
Wow.
fun.
It's amazing. The story of Petey is something that for sure for dog lovers and those parents of dogs, for sure that it was a fun thing. It was an adventure for some who got for the people who got him, but it was probably a lot of worry and a lot of anxiety for the
Oh
parents
yeah,
of Petey for
sure.
sure. For 24
Sure.
hours without, well, I don't know. I have a puppy too, and it just I think I couldn't sleep without knowing where he is, where she is
Absolutely.
for sure. So it is anxiety. But
Absolutely.
the good thing is, he's safe. Petey the pug is
Yes.
safe, and he was
Yes.
taken care by people. It is such a nice combination of, I mean, a story of the relationship between people and our relationship with animals. What can you say about this? I mean, we all talk about dogs as man's best friend. What makes dogs
Right.
special for you, Renee?
Well, it's interesting. At 3 years old, my mother got me three goats. I was a little 3-year-old running around with goats jumping all over me.
Yes, yes.
And that
That's
started it. I've
different.
had a whole lifetime of animals, a horse, a rabbit before, a squirrel, a
Okay.
big, big duck that used to follow me to school. And my mother was running after us, trying to grab the duck and take him back to the house. It's been an amazing journey for me as far as animals. Truly, I'm an
Mhm.
animal lover, and they've made a lot. They've meant a lot to me in my life, really.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
husband never grew up with pets, but once little Freckles
Mhm.
came into our home, she had us wrapped around
Mhm.
her finger, our finger,
Mhm.
and he loves animals now too. That was his
Yeah.
really first experience with living with an animal, and he
Yeah.
just loved her to death. So I think they bring animals are there to support us, I guess you could say, and they
Mhm.
bring a lot of love and support to families.
That's right. That's right. And I think for me, it's also giving us a lesson. they love unconditionally, and
Yes.
whoever you are, they just really express their love in however they want to express it.
Right.
And it's something that humans can relate to. Am I right? I mean, we can learn from
Absolutely.
these stories. What an
Well,
amazing book. Yes,
yeah, they're just there for us. They're support. No
that's
way
right.
about it. They're support.
They're
Yeah,
a gift from God
absolutely.
for sure. Now,
Yes, they are.
this book of Renee is available on Amazon. So for all our viewers right now here at Explora Talks, please do grab a copy of Renee's book, Petey Escapes for 24 Hours. Let me just, it's kind of long. Petey the Pug Escapes for 24 Hours. You just key in, type in Petey the Pug Escapes for 24 Hours by Renee Servello, and this is available on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble online, and all leading digital bookstores. When did you formulate, or when did you try to already start writing this, Renee? I'm sure it is a lot of creative process doing this, especially that this is not just like a novel, or this is not just a work of literature. This involves a lot of animation, creative ideas. Who did the illustrations for you, and how did were you able to set it up before publishing it?
My consultant at another book company, he set it all up for me because I gave him the story and told him, what I
Yeah,
wanted it to look like, and I thought they did a fantastic job.
indeed.
And so I think the illustrations for children's books are very important.
Mhm.
And they add a lot of life to it since,
That's true.
the characters in the book can't talk. So
Yeah.
you have to go by the illustrations. So I told them what I wanted, and they got it
Mhm.
in spades. Yes, that's
Wow.
how it
How
came
how
about.
long how long did it take you to materialize this beautiful material?
It was a couple of weeks. I mean,
Yeah,
as
wow.
far as, well, no, it was longer than that with the illustrations. It was
Mhm.
probably a month, but I thought they got it. I was
Yeah,
very pleased. First
it was
draft, we didn't
beautiful.
even have to redo.
That's right.
You know
No, I'm
all
sure.
about that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It is quite difficult for to actually get the attention of kids nowadays. They say that the attention span of kids it's getting lower and lower, and it is because of the digital media, the cell phones and the computers, the
Yeah.
PSP, all of this. Now, encourage the parents right now, Renee, because during our time, we really read books, and we don't have the presence of these digital media. How do you encourage the parents to have their kids read books instead of turning to computers? That's a problem nowadays, for
That's
sure. Yeah,
Actually, it's easier if you can get them away from their friends. That's the problem. They all want to copy each other. That's the
that's right.
problem.
That's right.
But if you can get them away from their friends, like I'm doing with my little great grandson now, if you can get him calmed down and away from the games and
Hmm,
everything
hmm.
else, then he enjoys being read to. He loves Petey. He says Petey, Petey. But you just have to get him away from the noise. I think
That's
it's
true.
much easier. It's much easier. But if they're a child that constantly has the phone in their hand, oh,
Hmm,
it's very
hmm.
difficult. Very
That's
difficult.
right. That's right. Very difficult. And I like that because you created a masterpiece. This book, this story is something that actually brings kids to books again, bringing
Mhm.
them back to the traditional ways. Because of course, the presence of digital media, the presence of cell phones, and this ultraviolet rays coming from the cell phones and the computers could actually affect their health. Am I right? But
Yeah.
reading is something that parents can enjoy sharing with their children. Am I right? I think that
If
this
it's
book of
quiet,
if it's quiet for sure.
gotta be quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the reason why you said you have to take them out of the noise. Am I right? And and
exactly.
it, and at the same time, it's not just about putting them back to the traditional ways of bonding with parents and reading books like this, but it's actually getting to appreciate the dogs and the animals around us. Am I right? You having experienced growing up with goats and all these animals.
Everything.
For sure, it gives a lot of appreciation to it breeds appreciation to these kids. Now, again, for all our Explorer book lovers out there, please do grab this beautiful adventurous book, Petey the Pug Escapes for 24 Hours. And Renee, I just figured out you have a website. Tell us about that.
Renee Servello, author.com. So you can leave me messages there. I'd love to speak with anybody. Yeah,
That's
everybody.
right. And actually, when I browse your website, I can see here you have a book, the one that you mentioned a while ago, Humor All the Way. This is a humorous book on aging and her personal observation on life. This is very different than the Petey the Pug, for sure.
Well,
And
yeah.
You're Kidding, I'm a Senior. Can you tell us very briefly about these two books? I think these two genres have a connection with each other.
They do. They do. Well, the thing is that the first book, it was supposed to be just a simple little book with some laughs connected to
Mhm.
aging
Yeah.
because everybody was falling apart or they thought they were falling apart. And I thought it
Mhm.
was sort of silly. So I
Yeah.
said, no, I'm going to write the truth on what's going on. So it was just a simple little book. But then everybody seemed to enjoy it and they wanted more. And I started making notes every day, go to the grocery store, go here, go there. And odd, funny things
Mhm.
always follow me. So I write them down before I
Mm.
forget them. When you age, you forget things quickly.
That's right.
So all of a sudden, I had this huge book compared to the first one about aging,
Mhm.
and it's just it's what goes on. It's life. It's real,
That's
but
true.
with a humorous tinge to it. It's not doom and gloom. I don't
Yeah,
write those kind of books, so it's the truth of what happens to your body and in
that's
your
true.
mind, and it just
It is like a
yeah.
cycle of acceptance. You get to accept it, but you have to live a full life. Am I right? And this is actually written on your blog. ReneeCervello.com actually has, you've written blogs as well about learning to be funny, directing your jokes properly, how to choose the perfect rescue animal for your lifestyle, and the golden agers, how to value treasure our seniors. So this is very interesting, guys. You just have to go to reneecervello.com. You have such a wonderful, wonderful writings right here. When did you start your blog, Renee? Did it happen before or after Petey the
After.
Pug? After,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, that was before Petey. That was before
before
Petey
Petey.
because they've encompassed, the humor books in that also. But it's interesting, you 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 watch programs like this,
Hmm.
YouTube, and you can learn a lot, how people had their beginnings and
Yeah,
what
that's
they
true.
wanted to do with their writings. And it's very, very
Hmm.
interesting. I read a lot, so yeah, I enjoy things like that. I look things like that up on other authors, and you can learn a lot about
Beautiful.
people.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Renee. Again, for the
Mhm.
parents out there, get a copy of Petey the Pug Escapes for 24 Hours. This is a heartwarming, I should emphasize that, a heartwarming story of a pug who escapes for 24 hours, but he just enjoyed it. He enjoyed his time outside of the
Ball.
backyard. Yeah. Renee, thank you so much for your time. But before we leave this video call, please encourage everyone to to buy the book Petey the Pug Escapes for 24 Hours.
Yes, absolutely. Barnes and Noble and Amazon. And we'll see where he goes from there. I see other adventures for him. I think we'll hear more about Petey.
And I'm thinking there might be a part two for this
Oh,
or
I
another
think
book
very
about
strongly there
dogs.
will be.
Yeah.
I think
You've
very
written how many
strongly.
books? How many books are there
Five,
in your belt right now?
five.
Five. All right.
Two,
So
two
all
in humor and three in children's books. Yeah.
that's right.
Children
Perfect.
slash animals. I love to get the animals in there with them.
Perfect. That's right. And it is available on Amazon.com. So if you key in Renee Cervello, it just pops up right there. All the books, all the five books that Renee has written. So please do grab a copy. Renee, thank you so much for spending your time with us. We appreciate your presence this afternoon. And so we're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much, Renee, for joining us here at Explora
Thank you,
Talks.
Joel. I really appreciate it. It was great. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Mhm. Bye.